Guys, appreciate y'all being here today for this media day. Thanks for coming. It's exciting time of year. I think we have a new wave of energy on campus in this athletic department and within our football, in our hallway and in our locker room, and that's exciting. I'll go back, rewind back to the off season and having our first off season. What you've seen on the field during this first week of camp is just significant improvement, and each coach in our staff room is seeing it. Just from a physicality standpoint, with our bigger guys, it's very obvious that we have gotten stronger on the field. With our skill players, we've made some significant gains as far as our movement and our speed. And so that's very exciting as coaches, and so we tip our hat to our strength coach and our new strength coach and the job he's done. Certainly, I know y'all will want to ask about the move into the conference. That's exciting. Just having natural rivalries and going back, into our major rivalry, which is McNeese, and that'll be fun to achieve. Another question, I'll address it, is our quarterback situation. Right now, Mike Chandler is working with the one offense. He is not set as the starter as of today, but he is rolling with the ones. I think if he continues to progress like he has done in this first week of camp, first 8 practices, he'll have a chance to be a pretty good football player for us and a good player in this league at this level. And so I think the overall theme of the first week of camp is carryover from our off season. I think our guys have started to learn just a daily consistency and what that takes to practice at a high level and to compete at a high level. And that's exciting. It's exciting for us as a coaching staff, because when you show up and your guys love to compete and they love to be around one another, that makes it a lot easier for us to wake up and get out of bed early in the morning and come to work. And we're very anxious to push forward. The standard here is going to be winning and winning conference championships, and we want that. We want our players. I think there's a hunger and a desire that's forming inside of this team with a willingness and an ability coming soon to be able to do that. So that's all I have, and we'll open it up for any questions that y'all have.
Jalen moving, good receiver. That's really going to be big for the receiving core with his athletic ability, because he's been taking the snaps. Now he's running the receiver. How's he progressing going back to his original position?
I really like his progress, and you've seen him. There's certain routes that really take, it's almost like an art form. You have to learn how to run certain routes versus man in versus zone, and for him to have the ability to recognize that. Last night he ran a route versus 2-man coverage on a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 on offense. We converted the first, to a first down on that, made a catch in traffic, and then ran a deep ball. We didn't get it off, but I think he'll have an exciting dimension down the field. And what we're looking for on offense is to certainly be more explosive. You didn't see Savon Ray last night, but he's going to be another guy to look for, really to push, to have the ability to push the ball down the field. And then we've got a couple other guys that have shown glimpses, and we need to push those guys to develop. And so you've got, when you start to get 2, 3, 4 guys that you can push the ball down the field with, hopefully you can back the defense up.
Local guy, I want to talk about that real quick. And Houston out of Nederland, what's he showing so far? He's a walk-on and coming out of a great high school career here in Southeast Texas. Has he adjusted to make that level yet?
It's so interesting, because in the off season you show up and he doesn't really you don't really notice him in the workouts necessarily, and then you get on the football field and you can tell that his high school coaches did a very good job of coaching him up. He is very much a skilled receiver and a polished receiver as a true freshman. And in fact, probably between he and Andre Dennis from Westbrook are two true freshman receivers. Those two guys now have been coached very well at their respective high schools. And last night, both of those guys, 8 practices in, and you're mentioning freshmen, which I'm very reluctant to do, but Andre made a couple plays, and Kendon has shown up as well.
He played basically 2 seasons in 1 year. You threw a bunch of guys into the fire. It was tough to get through that, but how farther along are they at this point than they would have if they were just playing 1 season in 1 year?
What you have is now our first recruiting class, and the 6 players that are still on the team we inherited are now in their 3rd year. And so you're starting to see some progress because of an off season. And you're seeing, those guys have played and been thrown into the fire. And so naturally what you hope to see is just progress and, making adjustments quicker, playing a little faster. Just a really good example of that is Jacob DeSherry at left tackle. He last fall, I think he played at 255. Well, he's 275 right now. And so there's a significant difference when your tackle is, 255 and trying to push on a 270-pound D end and 275. And we've seen that with the 5 guys that are repping with the 1s across the board. That's exciting. I mean, for an offense and the offensive staff and for a defensive staff, that's exciting because you're going to get really good looks, on the defensive side and guys really coming off the ball.
College football and not only football, all sports have changed dramatically over the past few years of the transfer portal. Do you pay attention to that? How often do you look in the transfer portal to see maybe there might be someone you could bring in here to help the program?
Certainly. I mean, as a college football coach, college football has transitioned. And so as a coach, as college football changes and transitions, you've always got to be adjusting and adapting as a coach, adapting your coaching style, adapting your recruiting philosophy. And so we are always in constant discussion about what is our recruiting philosophy, how are we going to use the changes to benefit us. And so I think as we move forward, we're going to see that the transfer portal will be guys for us that we have either recruited in the past, that we have prior relationships with, and occasionally you'll get a player that maybe you uncover that was under the radar or at a lower division and at a lower level. We've got a defensive end right now. I'm hoping he continues to develop, but he's got significant abilities from the Houston area, so he's fairly local, and he's a great example of, he was at a Division II school. He's an incredible kid, and he's done some things so far. Pius Ninji is his name. I'm excited about him and the progress he's making.
So getting back to Mike Chandler a little bit, obviously he had some playing time last year, got hurt towards the latter end of the season. What about him has kind of given you the confidence to rep him as he wants so far?
I think as a football player, he possesses a number of things. First, his football IQ is very high, and so he's going to know where to go with the football on most plays. And what I like about him is he does have a little bit of John Wayne. No, I don't know about the John Wayne reference, but he's got a little bit of a little bit of that. Going to take some chances and he's going to move around the pocket and make some plays, which I like. But what you have to do is you've got to hone that in and get it pointed in the right direction. If you can do that, and the biggest thing is knowing when to take your shots and knowing when to check the ball down, and that just comes from experience and just rep after rep after rep, and trying to get him as close to a live pocket situation as possible. Now, our defense creates a lot of issues because they're blitzing and coming from everywhere, and so that's the hard part, is sitting in the pocket, trusting your protection, and our offense did a decent job last night, in the first scrimmage of showing that we're going to be a lot better, in pass protection.
You kind of talked on their defense, you talk about the offense, and then just talk about how your defense is looking early on.
What I like is we're starting to learn, just as a defense, to me, you've got to fly to the football. And so effort within our program is kind of our mantra. It's our daily process. You've got to run to the football. You've got to finish plays. And so far, last night, I really liked the physicality we played with. We haven't done a lot of tackling drills, and there weren't a lot of guys on the ground. So athletically, what that tells you is your defense is more athletic. When you can tackle and you haven't worked it, and really concentrated on those things. And that's exciting. I mean, you get 11 guys running to the football. And so we're taking steps in the right direction. I liked how physical we were and how we ran to the football. And we made some plays, had a pick six, we're backed up and had a pick six. So that's always exciting.
Special teams?
Special teams, probably, you talk about offense and defense. I may be most excited about special teams because to me, special teams is all about athleticism, willingness, and personnel. And I was putting together our core list of kind of our mid-range guys, our linebackers, tight ends, receivers, and we're going to be so much more athletic than we've ever been on special teams. And so I see us taking a significant step on special teams, whether that be the guys we have returning kickoffs. I think we've got some really explosive guys that can run, and we can make some big plays on kickoff returns, whether that's covering punts. And we've got battles across the entire board, even in our special teams. We've got a kicker battle, we've got a punter battle, we've got about 4 guys that are going at it. And so when we have competition on your team, I think it creates just every day a competitive atmosphere. That's fun.
For whatever reason, Lamar's had tough luck with quarterbacks over the years, multiple injuries, and what I'm going at is how the development of the offensive line been for you?
Exactly. So protection, last night I thought we did a nice job. I thought we showed signs of being improved as far as protection goes. I think we still have some ways to go. But I think we're moving in the right direction. Again, going against a blitz and defense where they're coming from everywhere it's about as hard as of a look as you're going to see. And so that's great. That's great for our O-line because I don't think you're going to get within the season and have any surprises. I really like the progress that our offensive line is making. I really do. And I'm encouraged by that. Now we just need to continue to find 1 or 2 more guys to add to our depth.
5 non-conference schedules, games on the schedule. Of course, a couple were mixed in one toward the Southern Conference. But how important are those first 3 games getting ready for conference?
I think your bullseye is on that 4th game because our goal in our program is always going to be to win a conference championship. And so everybody kind of leads into that first game, and there's so much in college football. You don't get to scrimmage, you don't get to play preseason games. And so you get into this middle part of camp and you're going against each other every single day as you got to fight through it and progress and make progress. But your aiming point is going to be week 4 in finding the guys that give you the best chance, week 4 and going forward to win each and every week. Because you're going to have, football, you're going to have injuries. And so your ability to develop, those 2s and those 3s is very paramount. And those guys being able to step up and do the same job when you do have injuries.
We talked about a couple local freshmen with Dennis and Fiesler, but a local returner, Aiden Bell from Philadelphia, I wanted to ask you about. Played sparingly last year. What have you seen from his development and what you think contributes this year? Yeah,
first of all, you just love him as a kid and the energy he brings every day. He does everything right. He's a tremendous worker in the weight room in the off season, and he just loves football. And you can tell that by how he practices every day. So naturally, he has made incredible progress this off season. So we expect him. Right now, he's running with the ones at nose guard, and he and Jacob Bear going against each other every single day is a great matchup. It's fun to watch, and Jacob's going to get better. Aiden's going to get better because Jacob's a really good player, and so I've really the first 8 practices, I like the direction he's headed.
Are there any more questions for Coach? All right, Coach.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.